Hello, friends. Ooh, you can't see anything. We're about to do a little podcast here, but this is kind of weird. Let's see. Hold on. Here we go. So I'm full mode pajamas and not doing my hair and all of that because I kind of want to keep this super real. Like, I don't want to have to, every time I do a podcast or a live or whatever, to be all looking all, I mean, I feel good. You know what I mean? I feel good. But I don't think it's a necessity for me to go do my makeup, put on my hoops, just for this fun morning of a little chat on love and grief. So, you know, if I get this computer working, you get to watch this if you want. All is an invitation if you want to watch and listen on my thoughts on what hinders love, what gets in the way of us, being able to love ourselves and then others. Um, and I had a huge realization yesterday, but my computer is hindering. So give me one moment. What the hell? No, it's not working. Okay, here we go. Let's see what happens, right? Good morning. This is Grease Alvis, and welcome to Tales of Recovery, a podcast where I'm constantly healing and bringing in guests to continue their healing journey and their transformation of recovery from whatever. Because it's not just the podcast of recovering from alcohol or drug addiction or food addiction or depression or some form of disease. But yes, we do talk about that here because guess what? That's life. We're all recovering from something. The main point here is, what do we recover? Like, what do we get back? Like, you recover something from this journey of doing the work. It's hard work. It is. But then you recover something that's just like a passion for you, for life, something that brings you, I don't know, satisfaction or an awareness. And so I'm really talking today about the awakening process and awakening of the social conditioning that hinders love. And I've been going through a lot of really, really intense emotions right now, a lot of grief, a lot of, my mom has been really sick. She had a stroke. And so we're, just processing, watching her struggle and not be able to just hop in the car and here, let's go, everybody, because she can't walk or drive. And so we have to help her with everything. And it's a wonderful opportunity. It's been about a year year and a half now. And we'll have the Mother's Day podcast. She's going to hop on here. So that'll be lots of fun because my mom is actually very funny. She's a cool lady. And what I was noticing yesterday at her house is just, I had this anxiety if I really wanted to leave. And we were just chilling. My daughter was laying there on the sofa with her outside. My dad's taking a nap and we're chilling. And the whole time I'm just thinking, oh gosh, I should be doing something else. I mean, not the first hour, but we were there for 3 hours. And I had the preoccupation of I need to go home and be with my son because he's in the Fortnite black hole and we have to go outside because it's San Diego and there's the beach and I should be working on another project. And just this sense of I just don't want to be here anymore. And I thought, okay, finally it's been 3 hours. All right, we got to go. We helped my mom come back inside. We had a really hard time. But finally, she's inside, we leave, and when we come home, I have to practice, right? I'm like, okay, let's go just go do your movement. And I have a sequence of certain trauma-informed yoga that I do, and then my breath work, and this is just what I do to keep myself, to get integrated again and to notice and feel. Because I knew, okay, what's happening here? Why do I want to leave? Let's investigate. And that's what I've been doing lately is I investigate. With very loving curiosity, why am I feeling this? What's going on? And so I start to do this practice, and then I just start to feel a sense of grief just coming up in my body, and just a feeling like I'm going to cry, I'm going to cry, I'm going to cry. And then it just hit me like it's hard to be at my parents' house Not because my mom is sick. That's okay. I mean, we were laughing with her. We were just trying to, you know, hang out. But it's really like, why did I want to leave there? And I just started thinking about how I was uncomfortable. I was really having fun with my mom and my daughter. Then my dad was there, and it was like, he's going to give us a hard time because we're going to smoke some weed or whatever, or he's going to laugh at me for this or that, or he's going to, and I just started thinking, and this is all in my mindfulness, you know, awareness of my thoughts. It's just, this is where I'm going to be recovering here, and I'm just venting. If you relate, if this is helpful, great. If not, turn it off and go to the next podcast. But I really got a sense of awareness of what hinders love. What gets in the way of free love is that I felt like I had to be acting. And maybe doesn't happen all the time. Maybe it's just because it's so hard because I love my parents so fucking much. And there they are, and they're both really old. And, it's okay to just sit and not do anything in the backyard. But I had this anxiety to leave, and it's grief. Clearly, it's freaking grief. I understand that. But it's also, I feel, the social conditioning of what I learned growing up is that you have to behave in a specific way in order to have their approval. And it's this learning of, if you don't do these certain things, then you're not going to be approved of. And it could just be respect. I don't want to, I don't know, give my mom medicine in front of my dad because he's super old school and he thinks that, cannabis is evil, which is not. It's so much better than, oh my God. I mean, it's very relaxing, and it helps you not have any pain, and it allows you to eat when you don't want to eat anymore. And I mean, I don't have a list here of all the benefits of it, but the point of this story is that there's a certain freeze and a certain obstacle of freedom to just love myself and others because of this social conditioning, right? Because I learned that you have to do certain things in order to be approved of. And it's not that there isn't an underlying love there, but we have like these conditionings of, you have to have, you have to do what I want. You have to have a certain look. You have to have certain grades. You have to have certain success in life and hang out with the right people. And otherwise, well, you're kind of a loser and we don't really approve of you. And honestly, who came up with those standards? Because, when you learn this, it's just, when you figure out, wow, I've been living in a lie all this time. And we go in and out of this lie. Clearly, I've had moments of, I don't give a shit. I've completely loved my life. I've done whatever I wanted, and I've had an amazing journey. But during this moment yesterday, Sunday, with my parents, it was really hard, and I was tripping about that. I remember doing theater. I wanted to do theater and musical theater, super duper young, and we got this amazing show, and we won this. I don't even know what it was, but it was some contest where our play was really fun, and we were able to travel all the way to La Paz and then to Monterrey. And I remember we got paid, and I showed my dad this check, like, hey, look, I'm actually getting paid for doing theater and singing. Isn't it great? And he just looked at the check, and I'm pretty sure it was not a large amount. But he looked at it, he didn't say anything, but it was just like, what are you going to pay with this? A soda? He didn't say a soda, but that was the look that he gave me. And it was just like so disappointing. I don't care. I still went on the tour. I still did the theater. I still kept doing my thing. I still kept doing the music. And remember, even being signed by the BMG Latino and having like this album and playing the album to my dad. And he was like, that's you? Yes, motherfucker, that's me. Remember you saying that this was not a good idea? And here we are now doing this music, and we're signed, and here's an album. Like, I worked so hard for this, and it's totally doable. Whatever you set your mind to, just kick ass and get to it. And I wasn't expecting claps and approval, but he didn't say anything. But what I'm trying to the point that I'm trying to get to is, it's so overpowering, this conditioning of you have to perform for your parents. And we were doing advanced directives, which was probably why it was so hard on Sunday, because Saturday we went through the whole advanced directive for my mom and for my dad, and what are their 5 wishes, and How do they want to be taken care of when they're just can't talk anymore or can't move anymore? And do you want to be stuck to a machine or not stuck to a machine? Do you want the do not resuscitate thing? And what do you want for your funeral? I mean, it was intense, but I was trying to make light of it and laugh. And what songs are we going to write here? And we'll talk about that next podcast with my mom because she's really funny. She has a good take on that now. But the one of the questions was, what would you like to have read during your funeral? And my mom was saying, well, I would like this poem or that poem. And my dad's looking at, and then one of the questions was, what scriptures would you like? My mom's like, I don't care. I guess the priest can pick. And I was like, Mom, why are you allowing some priest to pick some type of reading? Like, you don't go to mass. You don't believe in that BS. What are you going to do? Oh, now some priest can pick no, we're going to pick what you want us to read in your funeral. And if you want to have a mass or any of that, well, then my sister or brother can deal with that because I don't want to deal with that. Because that's not what you want. That's what you think is necessary because we don't know anything else because that's called social conditioning. So anyway, my dad, who does go to mass every Sunday, okay, fine. You want a reading? Fine. That's your thing. That's your spiritual practice, right? So he's looking at some of these scriptures and he's going and he's just picking up the phone, saying different things and different poems and different sayings. And he picks one up that says, oh, look at this. This is amazing. When you have a child, allow the child to live their own life. They're not coming here to live yours. Ooh, I was like, that's a good one. You should have thought about that before you had me. And, my husband's looking at me, what? My dad is hard of hearing. So he's like, what? What did you say? Nothing. No, tell me what you said. And Julio, my husband, told him, well, you don't really want to know what she said. And of course, this is all in good fun. It's not like I'm sitting here super fucking bitter. I'm making a point of, yes, I had a lot of freedom growing up, but also a lot of pressure to, well, my dad's 84 and we're Mexican and he's Catholic. And the whole thing is like, well, you have to get married or do a career and do good for his societal standards, which are clearly not singing in a band with pink hair, having fun in life and doing, what makes your heart beat. Because God forbid, that's for cabaret people. And so anyway, the point is that all of this social conditioning shit falls in between. It's like this huge concrete wall. And I'm so grateful for an awareness of, oh, okay, this is what was happening. I love my parents so fucking much. And it's so hard. So it was a mixture of the grief of how difficult this is. And also an awareness of, oh, there's all this social conditioning. And, so I come home and I'm doing this practice. And I just start to realize, yes. How did I get out of this? Because I started with like just sitting in silence and observing this and then practicing going to therapy, practicing observing my emotions, practicing feeling, and on learning all of these social conditioning things that hinder me. There might be some good ones, like be polite and don't chew your food with your mouth open in front of people and, allow, respect for your elders and for others, for everyone, actually. I mean, there's some lovely things, but not performing for love, that's not a good one. So deconstructing all of these things, because of this conditioning for love, and you don't really get the love because it's all conditioned, we fall into the trap of religion or any kind of different cult or a gang, because you're so not accepted for who you are at your house because your parents have their own issues and they're all like messed up in their head thinking that it has to be a specific way, or they don't even accept themselves because they had it coming from their parents and their grandparents and their grandparents. And there's so much, confusion and turmoil that you show up at a church and you're like, oh yes, this is where I really get loved. The Lord's going to love me. Now I'm good. And then it just turns out, no, it's just a different set of fucked up parents. And, after you grow and as you grow, you realize, okay, no, this was not it. And I never really got it. Like people would say, oh, I love God so much. Well, I just never understood, like, how can you love God? Like, who's there to love me? I love my babies. I love my puppy. I love my husband. I love, enchiladas, but like, God, I mean, I'm super grateful. I feel gratitude. It's just like, sometimes I felt like this excitement of awareness, but I just never understood what that meant. And so I walk out of my yoga and then I go sit outside with my daughter because now we're home and now I'm a little bit more calm, integrated again after doing my practice, after all this grief, awareness. And we start talking about, man, that was so hard for me to go in there and sit with them. And my daughter's like, who cares? You're just sitting, you're just chilling with Abu. Like, don't worry about it. I'm just, you don't have to say anything. And she has a different perspective because she's not as, she's more separate from this. And we're trying to deconstruct and grow in more awareness and in freedom of love, I think, as the generations awaken and we keep going. And just try to have different lives. But she told me, Mom, I was super afraid of everything and you freaked me out about a lot of things. But now I feel like I can see how you would think certain things because of my grandmother. That's what we call my mom, Abu, like abuela. But you now have like this different take on intergenerational trauma. So I'm talking to my daughter like, yeah, I'm so sorry. You're right. I did have a lot of fear when you were born. And so that's why we put you in this little Christian school. Like, in this Christian school, I will not have to be afraid because you will not do anything bad and you will stay pure and safe and nothing bad will happen to you. So it's different than what my parents did, but I kind of dished it out now in a different manner. And she was just laughing like, it's so funny. And I wrote this down because I love my daughter. She's so freaking cool. I told her, yeah, I'm so sorry because that's just what I thought was the right thing to do. This was the right thing to do. This was just safe to be in this religion environment where you weren't going to be affected. And Paul was like, Mom, I got to high school and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so behind in what's happening here. And people, an exposure to different things and like conversations and ideas. And of course, drugs and parties and everything. The reality of life. And, we're talking about how it's just this belief system that we had about, I mean, I can laugh now and, hopefully if you're super religious, you're not offended, but we do need to think about these things that we believe. Because I told my daughter, can you believe when we were in there, we were thinking that we were going to go to hell? And my daughter says, yeah, when you realize the lies that you've been learning and like this mythological history stuff, and then you were kind of figured out, you're like, dude, that was so fucking stupid. And this is the kinship that I have with my daughter. This is the kinship. And I try to just make it real and not have this separation of I am the adult, you're the child. I am going to tell you everything about life. She's my greatest teacher and so is my son. And I don't want to have the separation that I have with my dad and with my mom. My mom is way different now because she's had the stroke and she's completely, like all her awareness and holding back is like gone. So it's what an opportunity for a different relationship with her. But typically with adults, you just kind of have to watch yourself because they're the adults. And with my kids, I don't have that. And I told her, I go, Paula, I really like the way you've turned out. Like, I think you're super fun, super cool and very, very woke. I just like you, I just like you. And I don't have the need to say like, oh, you're so smart and successful and polite and rich and famous. Like, those are all good things, but that shouldn't be why you like someone or why you love them. And so I just thought, maybe that's what happened in my family. And maybe that's what happened in certain families. I don't know. But I found this really interesting picture about what family is and what family is not. And I just thought, oh, this is amazing. Because family does not mean keeping secrets, walking on eggshells, which is a little bit of what I was doing yesterday, lying about who I am to keep the peace, which is pretty much from age 16 to 32 I had to do because nobody knew I was in the band. I mean, my parents knew, but not the aunts and uncles and blah, blah, blah. Pretending others are healthy when they are not. Family does not mean that. Family does not mean tiptoeing around the truth. Family does not mean attending holidays that derail my healing process, defending poor choices, engaging in toxic behavior, remaining loyal to old patterns that no longer align with my growth. Boom, boom, boom. That's the best one. Family does not mean assuming caretaking responsibilities that are not mine to carry. And this is intense because this is what we were told family was growing up. I think a lot of us are still kind of told that. That's why we have, oh, the mother wound and the father wound and the grandmother wound and blah, blah, blah. And it's it's very important to notice this, to wake the fuck up and just realize, okay, how does this play out in living? How does this play out in life? Thinking that we have to pretend and behave a specific way to get someone's love or approval. And all that comes from social conditioning. And I understand now, it's not, oh, my parents did this to me. No, no, no. It's a learned behavior that they have from their parents and their parents and their parents, which is why all of this ancestor work and having tea with the grandmothers and, all of these rituals and ceremonies of allowing our ancestors to come, or I don't know, it's not like another belief system. It's healing work. It's understanding that if I think that this affected me, imagine how it affected my mom or her mom or her mom. And dishing this conditional love without awareness is the worst thing ever. Because, I learned this and I'm like, oh, wow, I've done all of this work. I mean, I've been doing work for years. I'm still a hot mess, but you do work of sitting with it. And then you read, and then you go to a somatic experience and counseling and therapy, you retreats, and you read more, and you sit more, and you meditate. And then you have this amazing community of different great friends and teachers. And, then out of that, you bring out your own medicine and you start sharing with the world, hey, let's feel our emotions. Let's use our medicine of singing. Let's create this freedom. So it's like this amazing new life, and you learn this, but then you go back home and the family's they're still doing their thing. They haven't done all this work. So they're completely unaware. There's no consciousness of what you've discovered over here. And they're looking at you like, what's wrong with you? I want you to sit down and do what I say right now. And the inner child of you has this struggle of, wait a minute, I've done all this work. I've realized that I don't need to do this. I don't want to go here, but here's, a very dear, loved person telling me, or not aware that they're doing something wrong, which is when boundaries have to step in. And this is a great work of, social conditioning hinders love. Boundaries begin to heal. Boundaries are the step of, they have to come in, because otherwise there's no separation between all the work and everything you've learned. And then you step into this cave of ancient social conditioning, and it can be hard. So people don't like boundaries. I mean, you say no to certain people, or you're like, thank you, I will ask you if I need your help. If people don't want your help, they're going to say, no, thank you, I'm good. And most of the, the feedback will be, well, you just are too intense. You just feel too much. You should just chill out and do what I say anyways. No, thank you. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want, and I'm trying to do this in a very loving way. And I don't really say that in front of family members' faces. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. But, initially, that's the feeling, because you're fighting back for this non-boundary life. Little by little, as you burn, as you sit, and you just allow yourself to feel and grieve, that you are aware that this has been conditioning, then you can be like, no, thank you, and be chill, or not be chill, whatever. It's always changing. I mean, that's another thing my daughter says, like, Mom, it's just everything's always changing. Like, it's cool, everything is always moving, and there's never like an end or an answer. You're constantly in this journey of self-awareness and learning. But I do think it's a birthright to have your own thoughts and to have your own journey of choice, of okay, I get to love myself because I am this divine, amazing human being, whether or not mom or dad or uncle or aunt or society approves. And that's hard, you know, it's super painful to love because you're being held back by these expectations that hinder your confidence. That's why people do, oh, let's do all these affirmations. I'm great, I'm amazing. Yeah, the affirmations work for sure, you know, but there's an inner journey of death that you have to go through. Like, you know, they call it shadow work or going into the darkness and just allowing to see all this shit that's going to come out that's been in there because you've been walking unaware of this, just numbing and medicating, you know, numbing and running, numbing and running. Let's just eat or do drugs or run and run and run or be super religious and pretend that God's going to take care of everything without me having to do any type of internal, psychological, deeply healing work. Um, you know, there's just, there's, I heard this morning, the work is so internal and yet we're controlled by others and then we're trying to control others. And it's like looking in the mirror and you have mud on your face and you're trying to wipe the mud off of the mirror, um, instead of realizing that the mud is on your face. We have to do the work and then we get to realize, okay, fuck this social conditioning. Let's see what really is like. I mean, we're like animals. Not like animals. We are animals. Yes, we have a different consciousness and awareness, and there's evolution. But remembering that we get to feel and embody these emotions as, you know, this like a flower of the earth, like a plant of the earth. Hi, my son is here. It's just the way for me. It's been a very eye-opening experience because we tend to be super separated from that. And little by little, as we grow, it's like, stop hiding and own it. Own this life, own this love, own this embodiment and notice it, you know, and it's just part of the whole mindfulness training is when you notice that there's an aliveness inside of your hands, there's an aliveness inside of your heart, there's breath that comes in and out, and it's just, you just become awed by life. It's like, that's all we need. We need the four elements: water, fire, earth, and my breath. Love, life, be here now. And life is a gift and love is the point has been carrying me these past 3-4 years of exiting this horrible religious cult bullshit and now walking into this grief of my mom's illness and also just realizing that all of this work in my life and all of these experiences have brought me so much richness. And this is just what life is for me, you know? And I have constantly been fighting against social conditioning. Fighting against the machine has been my deal since I've been 12 years old, or probably, no, I think since I was 7, when I went up and had first communion without having done my first communion because I just thought, what the hell? Let's just do it. Why are we waiting for some first communion? And so there's this drive inside of me that just thrives from fighting this bullshit, which I now realize it's great. I was meant to do this. And you know, there's been a lot of hindering because man, the programming goes deep. So I just invite all of us to just investigate this conditioning, and find better ways of being kind to ourselves, compassionate beings, just honoring this beauty of life and looking at our children as teachers, not as little emotional pets that come to fill in this hindering love hole that we got from our ancestors, you know. Honor, respect them, try to guide them, apologize a lot when the trauma kicks in. And yeah, you know, investigate. So that's today's Tales of Recovery healing session for me. Hopefully it was helpful for you guys. And we'll be back next week with my mama for Mother's Day and the gift or the not gift of having a stroke. And that should be a fun episode. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time. This is Gris Alves. Thanks for hopping on to Tales of Recovery. You want to be on the video, something?